Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily and today I'm going to be doing my November wrap up. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently today, and I want to maybe try and get into the habit of doing it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on like the concept that drinking by my shelf does. So I'll have in this corner I'll have hold, and in this corner I'll have red, and then at the bottom here I'll have the total, how it works out. So pretty much I'm gonna base it on my numbers that I got on Goodreads, because in my want to read list is practically just a list of the books I own and that I still have not read. Some books I have read, but it's because it's been a while, I've just decided to put it as not read yet, because it has been such a long time since I have read those books. Anyway, so hopefully that will work out. And I'll start with my stats for the month, because I'm worried that my phone is going to go dead and I don't want to do that before the end of the video. So I'll get those stats up and we'll go from there. Okay, so my stats for the month. So in total I've read 7 books, which is a bit lower than what I have done in the past. I usually read about 8 to 9 books in a month. Well, last month I read 9, but I'll mention one of the books I read last month because I filmed it before after I already filmed and uploaded my wrap up, so that was fun, so I'll mention it today. So 7 books in total for this month. I read 3 sci-fi, 3 fantasy, and 1 romance. So 3 of them are middle grade, 3 of them are young adult. 1 would technically be classed as new adult, but I just keep to the basic 3 just so it doesn't get confusing. So out of the books I've read, 3 of them are 3-star and 4 are 4-star, just to make it easy. And also the total of pages I've read is 2,219 pages. So one reason that is quite low today for this month is because about 10 days ago I started reading A Game of Thrones. And I'm already about 300 pages in, so that would have been at least a book, depending on the book. So I would have probably had read another book by now if I didn't have started Game of Thrones. So before I actually start with the haul, I might just give a quick mention to 2 books that I wanted to read this month, but I ended up not getting to. So if you don't know, Believeathon went through November, so I decided to try and pick up as many middle grades as I could, and I didn't really want to get bombarded with middle grades, so I did break it up with some young adult, as you could see by the 3 young adults. But 2 books I didn't read, they were in my Believeathon list of books to read, and that was The Return to Roald. I ended up reading the first book and I didn't mind it, but I was like, I kind of need a break from the series before reading the second book. And the next book is A Tale of Magic, and I think I just got a bit stumped with reading this one because I didn't know if I had to have read the Land of Stories series first before reading this. So I don't know, if you know, let me know. Okay, so first on my haul list I have Red, White and Royal Blue by Cassie McQuiston. I'm only halfway through, so this is the book that I am halfway through, and I know I will finish by the end of November, so I will mention it in my November wrap up. Yeah, I'm really enjoying halfway through, and I know I think I'm going to give it a 4 stars. And anyway, this story is about the first son of the United States, as well as the one of the princes of England, and they end up hooking up, and it is a beautiful story. I don't know how the ending is, but so far what I've read, it is beautiful and I love it, and it's my first gay romance, and it's very, very nice, and I do enjoy this book a lot. And yeah, I got this book because of a Secret Santa, so pretty much it's an Australian New Zealand run or based one, and it's run by at Hannah Plus Books, and she organised this big thing so you could have 2 options. I ended up just getting a book option. This is the book I got. You had to write a list of books that you were wanting, so this is the one that she chose out of the 5 I gave. And thank you, Jess, for this book. I'm really thankful that you chose this book because I've never been so excited for a book before like this. So we got another 3 books to add to the list. So we got the series for Pages & Co. by Anna James. So we've got Tilly and the Bookwanderers, Tilly and the Lost Fairytales, and Tilly and the Map of Stories. And everyone has been reading these for Believathon, so it's been getting me into a bit of a mood to buy a little bit more middle grade books. And this is what I picked up, and they're the hardcovers, and I've looked at a couple of the illustrations. They are beautiful, and I'm actually looking forward to reading these one day. So my next book I got 2. So I went to an op shop, and they had some books, and I saw 2 books that I kind of wanted to get. So I was like, you know what, I'll get these 2 books because why not? And also they were $1. So why not? So I got Jodi Picoult, The Pact, that's the book called. Jodi is the author, and yeah, I've only read one of Jodi's books and I really loved it, so I have a feeling that I will enjoy majority of her books. So I've been kind of getting a collection, and I think I should probably stop collecting and start reading those books. But that was one of the books I bought. As you can see on the page, it is $1. So that was a really good bargain, as well as The Giver of Stars by Jojo and Moyes, and that is also $1, as you can see. I'm looking forward to reading this. I've heard a lot of good things. I've got the trilogy from Jojo and Moyes, the Me Before You. I haven't read it, but I'm looking forward to reading it, hopefully one day soon. Yeah, $1. I was like, you know what, I probably would have bought it at one point, so might as well, $1. So this next book I actually bought because I saw someone else talk about it, and then I saw it in Kmart, and I was like, I gotta buy that. So Tyra in the book, when she uploaded her Believathon TBR, I was like, okay, that's cool. That's a good list of books to read. And one of the books she mentioned was very peculiar. It stood out to me. It was an Australian middle grade book, and it was about a library in Melbourne. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like my jam. I got it. It is the grandest bookshop in the world by Amelia Mellot, and it was like $12 at Kmart, so that wasn't too bad. It's hardcover, and just like the insides, it's all rainbow and cool, and I really, really, really love this. Like the cover, and I don't even really know much about it other than it is based in 1893, and the bookshop is this magnificent thing, so I'm looking forward to reading this one day. So I know this book got a bit of, well, it's not really a book, or the book didn't get flack. It was the movie adaptation that got the flack for it. I grew up with a lot of Roald Dahl's books, and I enjoyed a lot of them. I haven't read them since I was probably about 10, so that's probably explaining why I don't remember the problematic parts in the books. But I ended up buying The Witches, the graphic novel, which is by Roald Dahl, but the illustrated and developed the graphic novel by Penelope Bagieu. Yeah, I'm really actually looking forward to reading it through a graphic novel. Like the pictures are, a bit different to what Roald Dahl's was. It was one of those books that stuck with me for a while, and I only watched the old movie once. So the movie didn't really have an impact on me, but the book did. So yeah, so it was something that I grew up with, and I'm looking forward to having this in my collection. So with these next 2 books, they came with a bit of an interesting story. So I went to Kmart at the same time I bought the Greatest Bookshop in the World book. I ended up finding also that they had the second book in the Aurora Rising, or the Aurora Cycle series, Aurora Burning, on sale for $5. It's by Amie, Kaufman and Kristoff. And I was like, okay, this probably is a series that I want to read one day, so I'll buy it anyway. And anyway, I was like, okay, I have the second book, but I just really want to get the first book now. I looked online and I was like trying to get it cheap because I didn't want to spend like an arm and a leg for it. So like I went online, I searched Kmart's in my area, no one had the book. I searched up Big W, no one had the book. So I had to go to one of the other stores, so it's just like QBD kind of thing. So I ended up going to one of the QBDs in down south, and it was $30 for Aurora Rising. Just because I have it in my hand does not mean I spent $30 on a book. So anyway, the next day I ended up going to another shopping centre, and they also had a QBD, and I saw it, the same book, like the same everything, for $20. So I bought it for $20. I saved $10 just to buy it at a different store from the exact same store, but from a different store. So that was my weird story about these two, and I really want to read Illuminate before I read these two, because it was the OG kind of series, and also the third one's coming, or they've just sent it to the publisher, so hopefully this third one will come out soon, and I'll have read this closer to the time of the publication date of the third one. So this next one's a bit of a goof, so don't mind me on this one. But this one that I hauled, one of my friends, she showed it to us, and she was just like, oh, this is the funniest book ever. And then anyway, me and my partner were like, okay, well, we're gonna go and find this book after she had like read it for us, because it was just so funny. And I like having like funny books, like even though I don't read them, like I like having funny kid books because they're just funny. So anyway, we got Grump by Jonathan Bentley. As you can tell who this is meant to be about, and it is very, very funny. It's very, very enjoyable for anyone, any kid, and any adult. It's funny, okay? That wraps up the haul that I did for this month. Now I'm going to go into books that I have read for this month. So the first book I want to mention is Hitler's Daughter. This is the book I actually read in October technically, but I had already filmed and uploaded my October wrap-up and decided I'm going to read another book. And so I read this one. And it's 130 pages, and I read it for Believer-phone because it is middle grade. So yeah, Hitler's Daughter by Jackie French. It's an Australian novel, and it's, you know, trying to figure out, like this kid is trying to figure out the morality behind Hitler's actions, and it's a very interesting book, and I can't believe I read this when I was 10 and understood it. Like, I don't know, it was just, it's a very weird thing to think about, but it's a good book and I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. It's good. Next, I read Artemis Fowl by Owen Colfer. Apparently I've been pronouncing that wrong. I read the back of the book and it said it's pronounced Owen, so that is how it is pronounced. Anyway, this is Artemis Fowl. Don't know, it's a very popular kids book. Anyway, I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, it was just like that in-between book that you could just sit down and just kind of relax to. But at the same time, it was nothing that stood out to me or something like that. I felt that it just kept going back and forth between characters too often, so I couldn't understand like Artemis's, you know, perspective, and as well as like Holly's perspective, as well as Commander Root. Like, you couldn't understand like each of their perspectives because it just kept chopping and changing constantly, and like I didn't understand the big impact behind what had happened in the book. So nothing felt like it was at stakes, even though it was, but you couldn't really tell because no one was saying why it was at stake, and it was just one of those books I was a bit like, whatever. But I did enjoy it, and I'm kind of considering reading the second book because I kind of want to see maybe it might get better, and if it doesn't, I'll just stop. But so next I read is Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. I actually really enjoyed this. I thought I wouldn't really enjoy it, but I did. It was a really good book. Like, fantastic. It's about a dead guy who is good and is awesome. That's all you need to know, because it is awesome. And I feel like this book was really good, but the fact that I didn't really know much about it going into it. So, and I gave it 4 stars as well. It was a 4-star book. It was close to 5, but it didn't have that it's my favourite vibe. So next I read 2 more books in the Tomorrow When the War Began series. So I read number 5, which is Burning for Revenge, and number 6, The Night is for Hunting, and these are both by John Marsden, and I'm still continuing. They were both good. I gave them both 4 stars, even though they are on the decline of that list. But yeah, they were really good. Well, not really good, but they're alright. These 2 kind of were lacking a bit because it just started to get a bit slow. It just felt like nothing was happening. It just felt like everything was just happening and nothing was happening. It was just a really weird feeling. But this one started to pick up the pace a bit more, the Night is for Hunting. So I'm hoping that number 7 will hopefully have a little bit more, but I know the ending is not satisfying, so I don't know if that will play a role. Next, I read The Land of Roar by Jenny McLachlan, and this one was good. I didn't mind the story. It was just something nice to read, and just something nice to, you know, just read. Yeah, I read this for Believathon, and the illustrations were beautiful. I don't know, I just wasn't the biggest fan of like Roar itself, but the story was beautiful. Everything about it was really nice. It was just the concept of Roar that kind of got me really confused. So I think that's why I didn't want to read the second book, because I was still a bit like iffy about the world, but everything else was really beautiful about it. And yeah, I gave it 3 stars, so yeah, but I actually did enjoy the book, and I'm really happy with it. So the last book I read for this month is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I didn't like it. Well, I didn't mind the story. It was just that I didn't like the plot. So like everything just kind of felt really confusing. It just felt a bit weird. It really did. You know, it wasn't that bad, but it was like, if it was a play, like seeing it in the play form would actually be alright, but seeing it in the book form, it wasn't good. It wasn't that it wasn't good. I wasn't a huge fan of it, so that's that on that. Okay, so done with all the books, finally. Well, not really, because I also want to mention the books I want to read this coming month, because why not? Well, because I always do. That's why. I want to read Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I've heard good things. It's really, really hyped at the moment, and I'm wanting to read it. Like, it sounds like a really good book. It sounds something I would enjoy. I love a good romance, so I'm all here for it. Next is the second book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, and that is Playing with Fire, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I really enjoyed it, so my goal is to read one every month in this series, so I don't get burnt out, because it is such a big series, and I don't want to be burnt out, because they're not small books, but they're not big books, but they're in that between that could burn me out pretty quickly. So yeah, so I'm just gonna, and if I get to a point where I don't like it, then I'll stop. But it's really good at the moment, so I don't think I want to stop. Okay, next we have Illuminate by Amie, Kaufman and Kristoff. So I heard so many good things, and I'm like, you know what, this is a series that I just need to pick up finally. Like, once in my life I need to pick this up, so I'm gonna pick it up. Hopefully, if I get through this, depending on how quick I do, and if I want to have a break or not, or if I want to get to the next book, I might continue on. We'll see, but that is this. I'm looking forward to it. I've seen a couple of photos, and they look really cool, and not photos, but the text, and it looks cool. So I'm hoping that I will really enjoy it. Next book I want to read is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is my Our Crate edition version of the book. I really love it, but at the same time I don't want to read it just in case I damage it, so it smells good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. I think it's going to be a beautiful story, and the concept in itself just sounds so beautiful. Just like, girl falls in love with demon and has to struggle a bit with it, like, because she made a deal. So I find that will be interesting, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And finally, I'm going to try and get through, well, I kind of have to because they're all loan, but the last 4 books in the Paper Girls series. I've read 1 and 2, and I'm up to 3, and I'm looking forward to getting to it and enjoying it. It seems like something I will enjoy. Well, I will enjoy because I've already read the first 2 books and I really enjoyed it. What am I going on about? I'm getting delusional. It is really hot in here and I'm getting delusional. So thank you for watching this wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry if it is too long because I rambled on about a lot of things and I know I'm going to cut a lot of it out. Anyway, if you enjoyed, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. And I will see you next time. Bye!